Go ahead and start the next session, Pipes and Tubes Logistic for Liquid and Gas Transportation. And to head the session, I request Mr. N.D. Rao, President Projects, Artha Group and Amalgam Steel and Power, to please come and join us on the stage. Along with him, Mr. Amit Prakash Singh, Head Regulatory Affairs, Tata Steel. Dr. Sumitra S. Gupta, Technical
Metal sector. So, all minerals, raw materials, except the metals, can be transported through slurry pipelines. Why the slurry pipeline system has come first? Because of the, I hope many of you will not take it otherwise, in US, the logistics companies, they were abnormally increasing the freight rate for the raw materials. In 1950s, they were increasing the freight for the raw materials, particularly the coal. Then this disruptive innovation has come in 1955, and the first slurry pipeline to transport coal for 175 kilometers started in USA by Consolidated Corporation Limited. For iron ore, first iron ore transportation pipeline has come in Australia at 2 million tons in 1967. And the beauty of it, till now that pipeline is in operation. It's over around 57 years, but still it is in operation, 2 million tons, because that was part of the group where I was working, STEMCO UK, that was part of STEMCO UK, and we used to keep track of its life, how much it is giving. When the designers do it, they give a life of around 30 years, but if the route profile, what you give it to the designer, and the construction is done well, and the operation is done well, the life can go beyond 50 to 60 years also, the pipeline. And the beauty of this transport mechanism through slurry pipelines is it can be net zero carbon emissions. Comparing to surface transport by road, carbon emission reductions through this is 97%. And through rail, it is around 87%. If the power required is taken through renewable energy, then it is zero. And the energy conservation is 98% as on today, even if we draw the power from non-renewable source. So net zero can be achieved through this logistics transportation. And the cost advantage in this is where I was associated with one of the pipeline projects of 30 million tons per annum of iron ore transportation for over 300 kilometers. The payback period is below 2 years. And if the minerals are any transportation, particularly mineral also, the rupees per ton per kilometer, if it is taken by rail in the surface transport, it is around 3 rupees to 3.5 rupees. Sometimes railways levy busy season tariff also. If it is by road, it varies somewhere 6 rupees to 10 rupees per ton per kilometer, somewhere in between 5 to 10. Sometimes it goes below also, above also. However, if it is done by slurry pipelines, the project which I worked was, it is 1.7 rupees per ton per kilometer. Once the payback period is done within say 2 years, then it is 60 paisa per ton per kilometer. That is the benefit, and other benefits are you need not worry about COVID. During the COVID also, those plants who were having transportation through slurry pipelines, those plants were in operation. No Bharat Bandhs. Bharat Bandhs do not affect the transportation of this. No cyclones. It is all weather proof. And it can be transported even 500 kilometers, 600 kilometers also. In Brazil, the slurry pipelines, 25 million tons per annum, even 30 million tons per annum pipelines are operating, even for 525 kilometers also. That much length also they can be, it can be transported. And it's nothing on surface, everything below the ground, 2 meters below the ground, and it can cross all rivers, everything. And it is the safest transport, and no theft also, no loss of your materials, no theft, and it is all weather proof. So there are so many benefits are there in the slurry transportation, particularly with respect to this, our national steel policy. I think by 2031 it is 300 million tons. By the 2047 it is 500 million tons, if I am right. To produce 500 million tons of steel, then we need to handle a cargo of 2 billion tons, 200,000 tons. So today, Indian Railways capacity is, I think, around 2 billion tons only. Is Indian Railways is only for steel industry? Then what are the other modes of transport we are looking? And another thing is the safest transportation mechanism. And I hope Ministry of, you all might be aware of it, Ministry of National Highways and Road Transport, every year they give some safety statistics in which the number of accidents happen on the roads in India, they are of, I think, around 1 million or less than that. And in that, the fatal accidents are around 1.6 lakh people before this year died, and around 6 lakh people injured. As per the published data of MORT. And lot of theft of material also happens. And so many disadvantages are there on the surface transportation.
Right,
But
sir.
this is, yeah.
So with slurry pipeline, we have from MNS also Mr. Raj Gopal Raja. I want to hear from you, sir.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Raj Gopal Raju from AMNS, and I've been operating slurry pipeline for the last 18 years. And currently, I'm also looking after the risk mitigation project as well as the capacity enhancement projects of AMNS. Like most of the things, the importance of slurry pipeline has already been explained by pioneer in our industry, Rao sir. So there is nothing more to add regarding the importance of slurry pipelines. But I would like to talk about the vision that was given in PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan. In that, it was given that we need to develop a logistic ecosystem which will be technologically enabled. It should be reliable. It should be resilient. It should be sustainable and also cost effective. Now, all these attributes that have been given in that policy, in that vision document, are all can be linked to a slurry pipeline. Like already what sir has said, it is completely sustainable because environmental issues will not be there. The pollution is zero, the carbon footprint is zero, and then energy consumption by slurry pipeline is very less, and it is absolutely cost effective because the rupees per ton per with slurry pipeline is very less or minimal as compared to rail or road, and then it is all weather. Because even like sir has covered about COVID, then we should also consider the hubs from where we are bringing the mineral. Like the major hubs are Odisha, Chhattisgarh, or from there the weather will be very, weather condition will be very adverse, and there will be flooding and landslide conditions also will be there. But this slurry
cost, the cost with slurry pipeline is the cost with slurry pipeline is 0.6 to 0.8 rupee per ton per kilometer compared to the 3.
Bulk energy transportation in India or all over the world, you can say, is through oil and gas pipelines. The primary concern to operate a oil pipeline or a gas pipeline is safety, because it is cutting through the country. These are cross-country pipeline operated at high pressure, say around in the range from 75 kg per square centimeter to 150, even 200. And any leakage or any mischief with that could create serious, very serious problems. So, fortunately, here in India, we have the complete range of expertise to operate, manage, monitor, and successfully distribute energy through the country. Our pipelines are, petroleum product pipelines. There are two types of liquid pipelines in hydrocarbon sector. One is petroleum product, like you get petrol, diesel, all those things. And another is crude oil pipeline. Now, petroleum pipeline, 70% of the transportation is through pipelines in India. Still 30% is through railways and road tankers. And in crude oil pipeline, crude oil transportation is almost 100% through pipeline. And then these pipelines, we are operating pipelines since early 60s. India's, we have a pipeline in the northeast, around 450 kilometers, which is oldest in Asia. We're first to operate pipelines in Asia. A very old pipeline, still in operation. But of late, what we are observing is pilferage of oil from pipelines. That has become a very serious issue, and that requires monitoring, how to prevent that. We have physical patrolling, but that's not adequate. We have digital monitoring, like there's a thing called pipeline intrusion detection and early warning system, which is done through optical fiber cables, which are laid along the pipeline. And any noise in the pipeline, a leak, when you make a puncture in the pipeline, the oil leaks with a hissing sound, and that is detected. And it is transferred to the nearest room with an accuracy of plus minus 5 meters. You can detect the leak. Now, that technology has reduced, I don't say eliminated, it has reduced incidences of pilferage to a very, very large extent, but still we have. In fact, oil pilferage is not only confined to India, it's in all other countries, including United States. So that is one challenge. Second challenge, whatever the slurry pipeline they were talking about, since it's a sister industry, laying a pipeline.
Sir, challenges we will discuss immediately. First, let us all talk about 2 minutes.
Sure.
And then we will take up challenges in the Q&A.
Sure.
Yes.
So that's what I can say at this moment. In future.
Yes. So now we have Mr. Mahendra Singh Gunjial, General Manager of Engineers India Limited. Yeah, your points.
Good afternoon to all distinguished guests, and thanks modern logistics who have invited movement, eminent industry leaders. As far as oil and gas pipeline is concerned,
Slurry pipelines. And long time ago, we have suggested to the ministry, like in the case of oil and gas, we have national grid of transmission lines and oil and gas pipelines, national grid we have. The similar thing is required for various mineral transportation. All minerals can be transported. In single pipeline, you can transport different minerals, like in Chile. Zinc concentrate is transported in the pipeline. In the same pipeline, copper concentrate is also transported. Bauxite can also be aluminum mineral bauxite.
All kind of slurry.
All kind of slurries you can.
But for gas, it will be different.
It is different design in gas. Okay. Slurry, because it contains solids and high concentration, it requires different hydraulic calculations it is required. So that can be transported. So in case of today, you look at like government mining companies like NMDC or Orissa Mining Corporation, they have a huge resource base of minerals. But if they provide slurry pipelines, they can follow the Amazon model of delivering the minerals home delivery, just in time. Since minerals are transported in slurry pipelines, continuous flow, no disruptions in that, it can go, and home delivery can also be given. And the same pipeline can give it to 5 customers or 10 customers also. The design can happen in that way, and it can be delivered to different customers
So
at
similar
different lengths.
question I want to ask to Dr. Shamitra Gupta ji. Like sir is saying that in slurry pipeline, any kind of slurry can be transported. Is it also with the gas pipelines, we can transport any gas, or is it different?
Really, as I said in the beginning, there are 2 types of liquid hydrocarbon pipeline. One is crude oil, and another is petroleum product. In petroleum product, you transport in batches petrol, diesel, kerosene, aviation fuel, all together in batches. The same pipeline you can transport all these things. Nowadays, petrol, whatever is available in Delhi, is 20%, 15% blended with ethanol. Those who are buying petrol from Delhi, they must be experiencing a smoother ride. It gives a smoother ride, very smooth ride, as compared to pure petrol. So the ethanol blended petrol is also pumped through the same pipeline. So that's a multi-product pipeline, basically.
And I want to ask you, how can the oil and gas industry leverage advancements in pipeline logistics to enhance efficiency and safety in liquid transportation?
That's what I was telling in the beginning. Pilferage is one of the biggest threat to pipeline. People pilfer oil, steal oil from the pipeline and keep the pipeline open, and the oil spills all around. This thing, very frequently we'll see in Nigeria, hundreds of people die. India also, somehow we have been able to prevent that. Such a disaster is yet to happen. But then we have drone patrolling. We have OFC, that pipeline intrusion detection system. We have helicopter patrolling. All sorts of digital technologies. And then any loss of oil, it's continuously it's being calculated how much oil is being pumped and how much is received on the other end through some kind of leak detection software. So all those things will prevent this thing, so largely we're able to run it.
And do you think we have enough pipeline transportation for oil and gas? Slurry ka to nahi hai, sir. I know that. But for oil and gas, we have enough.
We have enough. We have around.
Now, since we are also talking about the hydrogen and gasification.
You see, we have oil and gas pipeline operational is around 50,000 kilometers. And another 25,000 kilometers is under various stages of construction. If you compare with United States, they have 4 lakh kilometers of oil and gas pipeline. But for oil and United States, land area wise, this 2.5 times India and Pakistan combined. It's a huge country. From that point of view, we have sufficient pipeline. We need more, but pipeline is not a socially acceptable industry. That's why people don't like pipeline. They go to the villages. They are averse of giving land. So it's not in this thing.
And Amit Prakash, you comes from the Regulatory Affairs Department of Tata Steel. I want to understand what kind of regulatory recommendation and suggestion you are making to the government which can benefit the industry as a whole.
Yeah, that is a very important question to ask. Because if we see a slurry pipeline project, if you plan this day, it will take about 5 to 7 years to get the approvals in the forms of ROU, ROW, whatever it is. So a pipeline project proponents can start working after 4-5 years after getting approvals. That is a 4-5 year of wastage of time. So in this one, I will say like what we have faced right now. It is the case of ROW. In case of right of way, it's good that government has the provisions, NHI has the provisions of utility corridor that can be utilized. But in the case, like we have seen many of cases when the land which already diverted from the forest status, which is a diverted land, if you are proposing a slurry pipeline there, MOEF requirements ask us to again go for the complete forest clearance process, going through stage 1, 2 process, and it's up to 1 to 2 years of the job. So these regulations needs to be simplified and can be a single stage approval for such projects. Considering slurry pipelines are very important. Second case, like the sir said about the case of ROU, it's a very tricky question, and it's a, by system, it's a very cumbersome process. A same proposal is moving between state and multiple ministries 3 times. First for the notification, second for the government intent, again for the final grant. So it is a taking of time of 2 to 2.5 years. So these kinds of timelines are not realistic one, considering the national importance of these projects. And above all, these projects are carbon supportive. I will say carbon negative. So it will helping us to improve the environment. And we are struggling with the environmental clearances. So one shortcut could be have a separate act, rules, regulations kind of thing for slurry pipeline projects. Another could be the simplification of the existing regulations. In the case of MOEF, a proposal should be a single stage approval. For the RU, it could be a single stage. So one pipeline, one project, one approval kind of thing can be done on the regulatory part. That is my idea. Thanks.
Yeah, another best part of it is they are highly automated, and so you don't require people. One engineer in a shift can run. It can be operated from both the upstream and the downstream side also. It can be off or on. Hello? Yeah. It can be done from the upstream side also, operation, and from the downstream side also. And lot of protective devices are given. Like if somebody wants to sabotage it, alarm comes. And exactly what kilometer point it is coming. And leak detection systems are there. There are a lot of safety systems, integrated management system, as explained by him. It is there. And highest level of automation, like autopilot mode. It is like an aircraft mode travels in sometimes autopilot. This system is also in autopilot.
I think let us also not forget the pumping part, because that is the heart of the pipeline transportation. So at what distance do we have pumps when we talk about the slurry and for the gas?
Yeah. See, this depends on the profile of the route.
Sir,
elevation
in
profile.
between, we are opening the house for the Q&A. You can start raising your hands. We will take up question one by one. Sir, please continue.
Yeah. Yeah, and the pumps part, it depends on the profile, route profile, elevation profile. And based on which the hydraulic calculations are done, and the pumps pressures required are calculated based on that. And if elevation profiles are down, up, then you may require more number of pumping stations. If it is profile is always on the lower side, then you don't require. Single stage can go up to 300, 400 kilometers length also. It's not required.
Yeah, you can raise the hand. You want to ask question. Zaid, here. And in between, Mahinder ji, I want to understand how can collaboration between the public and private sector help in expanding India's pipeline network for efficient liquid and gas transportation?
For the collaboration sector, in the EIL, we have declared this 2024 as a year of collaboration. We have done a lot of collaboration for the green energy sector, and we are doing a liquid ammonia pipeline in Oman for the private players. And we have done a lot of MOA and MOU with the various industries, including PSUs and the private sectors. So we are in that. So it is a very important factor, you know, for the development and growth of the country. All should come together in under one umbrella. And boss has already told we have a PMP Act for the RO acquisition. That is, the PMP Act is followed. But you know, it is different from the state to state. In Tamil Nadu and Kerala, it is quite different scenario. We are not getting ROW. That's why PNGRB, they are thinking of a pipeline which is going away from the coast and going to the sea, and it will come again to the coast. They are thinking of that particular, and they may be announcing that concept also. In Tamil Nadu, farmers are not allowing. They are telling go along the highways. And highways, we have an NHAI. They have already given permission, but they are not giving us allowed to cut the road, and that is even the service road also. Even a small piece of that land, we need around 2 meters. That's a difficulty we are facing. Yeah, real issues.
Yeah. Sir, first introduce yourself.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Sir,
I'm
if you could just
Tanir
stand up
Garga
yeah.
from M&M Ropeways.
Okay.
So I wanted to raise a question regarding the construction of the pipelines. Does it require an extensive infrastructure, ground-based infrastructure, or especially in the mountainous terrain, river swamps, and areas such areas? What kind of infrastructure do we need?
As far as pipeline is concerned, we have done conceptual study up to Srinagar also, from the passing through the Banihal Cross and all. And difficulty what we are facing is that there are some avalanche-prone areas. So to avoid that, we have a railway. Railway has already installed 2 tunnels, and I think highways also installed 2 tunnels. We are seeking of a separate corridor in that particular tunnel so that we can avoid such issues along the terrain issues. And if you lay the pipeline in the hilly areas, it has to be along the highways. That is most, the prominent route for that. Otherwise, you'll have to lay a pipeline, you have to make a separate ROW for the pipeline.
I propose the cable crane system, a ropeway system that lowers the load and horizontally and vertically.
That can be done in the, if you turn, that is called suspension bridge system. That is the old concept, because there was a threat of the terrorist who can attack if it is above ground system, it is lying it can be, because oil and gas is very vulnerable, very hazardous. That was the issue, and we have other systems with just microtunneling and horizontal direction drilling. Yeah. These are the techniques we are employing. We are currently installing a pipeline from Paradip to Numaligarh, where we have crossed the Ganges, Holy Ganges, and we have done SDD using intersection method. We have made a world record for 26-inch pipeline. That is 4,030 meters using SDD without any opening and trench.
Mohitji.
Hello.
And we are doing almost 15 number of microtunneling in the ferocious rivers of the Assam and West Bengal. Cable trench? But only the pipeline, as far as we consider, it has to be more or less, if it is buried, we feel more safe. Because, if you,
Sir,
for example, for the subsea pipelines, if you see that they are either laid on seabed or it is buried.
Mohitji,
it depends on the stability.
Yeah.
Good afternoon. I'm Mohit Kapoor. I believe the only person who's representing steel as well as logistics sector, both. So I have a joint question to maybe all the panelists, because we are policy people, EIL also. So you just mentioned, Mr. Gunjal, that National Highway is not giving you land, and obviously private landowners or the villagers, they just restrict. They are not reluctant to, they are quite reluctant to anything, whatever you offer to them. But what about the National Logistic Policy or PM Gati Shakti plan, which is actually highlighting or focused on integrating different ministries, different stakeholders to make a comprehensive plan where the planning is done taking into consideration and apprehensions of every stakeholder? Is PM Gati Shakti plan or National Logistic not helping you particularly in this thing?
Yeah, it is definitely helping, but for example, the gas pipeline, it is designed by different code, different concept. And for the liquid and crude oil pipeline, it is designed with a different code. There is a different requirement. Not only, we are thinking of not only the design of wall thickness. Stations are quite different. SV stations are quite different. A gas pipeline, you require venting and the venting in the sky. And whereas in the oil pipeline and crude oil pipeline, there is no requirement of such venting requirement. So,
I think
though
I
the
may have
pipelines-
articulated my question wrong. I'm asking that isn't that PM Gati Shakti a national logistic policy or PM Gati Shakti help you to reduce these intra-departmental, intra-ministerial, intra-stakeholder conflicts of not giving land by government? Since if government is planning to create an infrastructure, they will be doing, providing you all the necessary permission, sir.
Yeah, I can take that.
I understand. You want a unified kind of a thing where all the permissions are given, It's not really like that. I as a pipeline operator for a particular company, he wants to lay his pipeline along the shortest route, to keep the cost down. So I will try to avoid going by the national highway, which may take a very circuitous route. Not always, sometimes national highway may help, many times it may not help. So land you require in the countryside, in the villages, in the cities, you require land to lay a pipeline. National highway, so if you have multiple agencies, national highway has been they are cooperating with us, no issue. Government agencies are cooperating as far as possible. But problem is with the villages and the private land. As I said, it's not a socially acceptable industry, pipeline. Every day I go and dig it and repair my pipeline. So the poor farmer, he is suffering. Only the topsoil I disturb, there are a lot of issues actually.
I can add on this one.
I'll give you all of you a very good news. I was a part of the workshop on 16th at Ministry of Industry, Commerce. It was to commemorate the 3rd anniversary of PM Gati Shakti. The plan, once it will be out for public domain, will be any private stakeholder or any government agency or mix of them, they just have to define their problem or define their requirement. For example, if you say, I want to lay a pipeline from, say, Paradip to New Delhi, hypothetically, then that system, PM Gati Shakti, can give you a master plan of designing your route from the area which will require minimum land acquiring, minimum, say, river or minimum tunnels through mountain pass, minimum infringement of forest land. My question only was to sir that I believe you have to wait for some time. PM Gati Shakti will erase these multiple conflicts among the stakeholders.
Agreed. PM Gati Shakti has been really helpful, and it has been the case in the many cases NIP projects were getting reviewed, and we and other street players have been successfully getting ROW because of Gati Shakti and PMG portal. So it has been really helpful. But the question I wanted to raise here is about the applicability of the rules. Like in case of NHI utility corridor, which was earlier forest land, which has been diverted from a forest land. When a party is laying pipeline through it, MOEF requires us to again go through the whole process of changing land use, which is a typical forest clearance process, which is very time consuming. That has to be sorted up. So that can be taken by necessary enablers at the MOEF. So simplification of the existing regulations can help us. And as far the point is concerned, the portal is really helpful.
Okay, our time is up. If anybody has questions, you can,
Sir,
after this session also you can ask.
One question I would like to ask, whether this pipeline transportation has been tried in the coal industry also or for coal transportation? Because the coal transportation is creating a big problem for the environment and for the other
yes, I think at the beginning I have said,
yes,
the slurry transport system has started with coal transportation only
but in, India,
in 1957.
But in India, why it is not being
India, no, not yet started.
Why? What is the constraints that we are Yes, we want to know. Pardon?
I'm saying for iron ore only we have not yet achieved that, the potential.
But coal transportation.
Coal transportation through pipeline is relatively easy comparing to iron ore transportation.
Definitely, sir.
Yeah, it is, the specific gravity is lower. So any further questions we can take up later after this session because my time is up, this group's time is up. And lowest cost, most available, and several advantages I have explained. See, inland transportation requires 100 times more space than a slurry pipeline requires, and road transportation requires 50 times more space then slurry pipeline, and rail transportation requires around 30 times more space. That is the level of space occupation for the transportation of it. Cost already I have explained to you. And it is a one-stop solution for the achievement of the 300 million tons steel and 500 million tons steel, the national steel policy, unless we switch over to pipelines transportation of the minerals. Anyhow, the rail and road logistics are required for the transportation of the metals. That can't be done through slurry pipeline. Yeah. So please don't treat the panel, people sitting on this panel, as competitors to railways or road transporters.
On that note, I would like to add one more point. Like Verma sir was discussing that the condition like whether railway or roadways, the two-way direction loading is not there. And for slurry pipeline, that is also an added advantage. There is only one way of transporting the material, and idle movement is not there. So it is one more reason why it is more energy efficient.
Now, should there be any need that two-way you want to do it, it is possible technically. Technically, it is possible. Yes.
Any more question anybody has?
The big challenge here, in the pipeline industry, the big challenge now what is emerging, maybe in the coming days, is transportation of gaseous hydrogen through the existing gas pipeline. So that is becoming a challenge because you don't lay separate pipeline for hydrogen, it will be very expensive. So you have to use the existing gas pipeline for transporting hydrogen, and a lot of work has been going on. And on trial basis, some people have started. I think that is one upcoming challenge for pipeline. Thanks.
We have one more question from that side.
This pipeline.
Sorry, it's not clear?
Yes.
Yeah, there are several pipelines are there for ash handling. There are several pipelines in operation already. Even beneficiation plants, tailings disposals, it's all being done globally.
There is one more question we have. Okay.
Last question. So my question is, I'm Udit from Siemens. So my question is, how much scalable this is? For example, see, when we think in context of roads, many companies can use roads at the same time. But owing to the fact that we have limited area, right? So if every company starts laying their own private pipelines, soon we will run out of that area where you can lay more pipelines. So how much scalable this is?
Scalability. Today, one slurry pipeline for iron ore is coming up in Odisha. Single pipeline, 38 million tons. ArcelorMittal Nippon Steel is right now working on that. And scalability, it is up to you how much you want to take it. No issues in that. And already, world in Morocco, 36 million tons rock phosphate concentrate transportation is happening long time ago. And India's iron ore transportation pipeline, which JSW right now executing, is the world's highest capacity pipeline. Then AMNS is going to be the world's largest capacity of 38 million tons per annum.
Okay, sir, just a follow-up question. So, sir, my question was not in terms of the volume transported scalability, but in terms of how much pipelines we can lay like side by side. For example, there are, let's say, 1,000 companies and they have individual 1,000 pipelines over some XYZ area, right?
Yeah, it's a proper planning is done. So one pipeline is there at 2 meters below the ground, another can be at 4 meters below the ground, another can be 6 meters below the ground, can one over the other, like we have today multi-storied buildings. The same thing can also happen there. Yeah, dedicated corridors. Provided the planning is done properly, it is possible. There are some pipelines already, it's here. One goes over that.
So, but
In
then,
India, it is there, slurry pipeline.
so okay, fine.
So thank you so much for the wonderful session, and even the demand
Hello,
of questions suggests that that was an incredible session for us.
Hello.
And now I request Ms. Bachchan to please present the memento to Mr. Randy Rao, President Projects, Atha Group and Amalgam Steel and Power. Can we have a round of applause, gentlemen? Mr. Ramit Prakash Singh, Head Regulatory Affairs, Tata Steel. Dr. Soumitra S. Gupta, Technical Advisor, Center for High Technology. Mr. Rajgopal Raju Datla, DGM Slurry Pipeline, AMNS India. Followed by Mr. Mahendra Singh Gunjal, General Manager, Engineers India Limited. I think it's time for the group photograph. Thank you so much. So now let's move on to the next session. Road, highways, bridges and warehouses. And to lead the session, I would like to introduce our speakers, Mr. Mohit Kapoor, Chair Projects and Events Committee, Warehousing Association of India. Can we have a big round of applause, everyone? Dr. Satish Pandey, Principal Scientist, CRRI. A big round of applause, everyone, please. Thank you so much. Mr. Ravendra Kumar Goyal, Principal Executive Director, Bridges at Indian Railways. Okay, my bad. So my apologies, the session would be Indian Railways for bulk raw material and container handling. And let me introduce the speakers, Mr. Abhijit Narendra, IRISE Joint Secretary, Ministry of Steel. Mr. Karthik, Business Manager, PESMEL India. Mr. Praveen Kumar Mishra, Chief Railway Operations, TMILL. So the discussion points would be expansion of railway capacity to handle the increasing demand for raw materials and finished products. And the session will be moderated by Ms. Monica Bachchan. Over to you, Ms. Bachchan.
Hello everyone. So quickly we will start the session. So we are already running 30 minutes behind the schedule, so I request everyone to please cooperate. But trust me, we will finish up the conference on time. So we have Mr. Karthik Vaidyanathan, Business Manager of PESMEL India, and Mr. Praveen Kumar Mishra, who is the Chief Railway Operations TMIL. So please change this placard. Praveen Kumar Mishra of TMIL. I can sit here? Yeah, okay. Yeah. So first, I will have Mr. Karthik Vaidyanathan to introduce your topic. Yeah.
I have.
You have. Please continue.
No, that's okay.
Okay.
So good afternoon, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and I would like to thank Ms. Monica Bachchan, who is the founder of this Meteorologics event, to create awareness on modern logistics, and my co-authors, Mr. Rajagopalan, who is the MD of PESMEL South Asia, and my Deputy Director, Mr. Arjunan, who is the Director of PESMEL India, and my fellow colleagues, Mr. Marco and Mr. Thomas from PESMEL Finland. And a very warm welcome to all of you gentlemen here. So before I start with, I'm here to discuss on a topic on how to optimize the turnaround time for the trucks and rakes using modern logistics with the mailbox concept. So I have a question to all gentlemen over here. Like, if I put up a statement like, does you people witness the receiving of vehicles such as trucks or rakes for the loading on time or not? Do you see any unexpected delays or unforeseen delays in receiving such trucks or rakes for the purpose of loading? Can you please raise your hand if you have any comments on this? Okay.
So only few people face a challenge? Really, after lunch? I can understand.
Sorry?
Habitual of that.
Okay, thank you for
That's what I told Karthik, that I'll be the first person to raise my hand.
Okay, so I'm here to address on how to optimize or squeeze this turnaround time to achieve and shorten the lead time and to have more efficient operations in terms of modern logistics. So to start, like what the name suggests for this program, modern logistics, I would put this modern logistics as it's not an option or a choice we have to look for. It's a mandatory and must requirement for India to have fueling the Indian growth if we follow such modern practices and automations in India. So there are certain conventional system delays which we follow in our regular practices in logistics industries. To avoid such unforeseen delays or conventional delays, I would like to state some factors which could efficiently improve this turnaround time using this modern logistics. One is the implementation of RFID systems or the barcode systems, where you have a really commendable position on where exactly is the vehicle, like GPS systems, global positioning systems, where your truck gets loaded and it gets dispatched. You know exactly where the location of the truck is. It is not a point like you just loaded the truck and the truck went out for dispatch, but you couldn't understand or where exactly locate where the truck is really, and whether that material has already been delivered or not delivered, or whether after delivery it is coming back for your second loading on time or not. So to envisage or to check that location of the truck, GPS positioning of such trucks or rakes is really mandatory. Okay, then we have a gate entry system which can also be automized for gate in and gate out, which could really prevent such any delays in trucks or rakes coming into the plant premises. Then you have such maintenance related issues, like in automations. It's not like you set up automation, you install or you commission, but it is also equal responsible for conducting such maintenance practices more effectively, like preventive maintenance, corrective maintenance, and sort of planned maintenance and breakdown maintenances. So all these factors put together, you have to ensure that each factors play a vital role in achieving the overall equipment effectiveness. So now when I talk about overall equipment effectiveness, it is about three major factors. One is the availability, second is the performance, and third is the quality. So how do you ensure availability? How do you ensure performance? How do you ensure the quality? So once you ensure these three factors are in place, you can get a very good overall equipment effectiveness, which can really boost up your efficiency and which can give you a higher productivity, quality, and safety of these equipments. That's all. Yeah.
I will quickly move on to Mr. Praveen Kumar Mishra, TML. Yeah.
So first of all, good afternoon to everyone, all distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, colleague, everyone. So today's topic of expanding the railway capacity to meet the growing demand for movement of bulk material in railway wagons is a very burning issue, and we being a logistics service provider and our presence into railway system, we are having experience of facing challenges on day-to-day basis. But before I start deliberating my views and suggestions on this, first of all, on behalf of TMILL, we extend our sincere thanks to Indian Railways for rolling out few schemes which has really enabled movement of bulk material in railway wagons in terms of availability of rakes in the system. While it has been a very game changer kind of availability in terms of the rakes, there are few gaps which I would term as a shortcomings or lack of strategic approach or steps towards meeting Indian Railways target of achieving the modal share of around from 28% to 45% in the coming days as per the National Rail Plan. So these challenges are very basic, and I think everyone knows these kind of challenges, but nevertheless I would like to highlight these challenges. So first and basic challenge that we have been facing is the lack of infrastructure in Indian Railways. So I mean to lack of infrastructure is the availability of Indian Railways network, lack of base maintenance depot where rakes can go and seamlessly undergo for routine maintenance, preventive maintenance, examination. Then upgradation of Indian Railways tracks also, because currently tracks are not conducive for movement of high axle ton load rakes. Secondly, I think railway is also required to bring more capacity in terms of fleet expansion, because currently there is a short supply from Indian Railways, and that is where these policies in terms of general purpose wagon investment scheme and special freight train operations, those have been rolled out, and TMIL as a logistics service provider has really gained out of this policy with a very seamless supply of rakes to our parent customer, which is Tata Steel. So the other challenge which we have been facing is the operational efficiency. Although railway is working on the third line and fourth line, but nevertheless it is yet to be completed if I talk about the entire railway network, and the statistics says that it can only cater to 60% of the total demand at present. So these are the few challenges we have been facing in terms of our railway operations on day-to-day basis, and we would request Indian Railways to put their best effort to expedite on whatever steps they are taking towards increasing or augment the infrastructure in terms of all these challenges.
So coming to Mr. Karthik, as in we have seen very, very beautiful presentation by Mr. Thomas, and during the inauguration we heard Mr. Raj. I want to ask you, what role do automation and robotics play in increasing the flexibility and efficiency of containerized handling of finished products across multiple supply chain points?
Okay, so to address this question, as what I have mentioned earlier, normal practice over in the industries are conventional or manual sort of systems which we follow for loading and dispatching. Coming into digital transformation, we have this term of modern logistics, which is the real-time automation, where you can really deploy such programmable logics, and also for tasking and scheduling, we have a specialized software called YMS, which is the yard management system for handling in steel industries, where you really know where exactly is the location of the coils and the position of the trucks or rakes when it reaches the YMS. you know exactly where that coil is being kept, and immediately it can be loaded onto the wagons or rakes, and therein, you know, you can really move those trucks or rakes in a stipulated time. So if you don't follow such auto tasking or scheduling, or, you know, whatsoever the material you keep and, you know, you produce and then you keep and then you dispatch, unless or until you have a systematic approach or a process right from A to Z, which is not streamlined, then of course you will have some mitigations, or you may encounter certain delays in achieving this efficiency. So that sort of automation we really have, like, you know, we have a system called ASRS, which is the Automated Storage and Retrieval Systems, which really stores the materials whatsoever, if it is steel, tires, or whatever, papers or whatever the products. But you can really store that, minimizing the footprint, having, you know, have a vertical storage systems. So this is in terms of ASRS, and secondly you have in YMS, which is for maintaining the yard management system for steel coils.
Pravinji, T-Mill is into so much of logistics, as in we saw the presentation of Salochna ji. You are into railways, you are into shipping, you are also into multimodal logistics. So I want to ask you, so can you share your experience in integrating multimodal transportation, rail, road and port, and how that impacts seamless supply chain logistics for the metals and mineral sector? If you could share your experience.
So whenever we talk about multimodal facility, the term which has just come to my mind is it is a cost-saving approach. And without multimodal facility, any kind of logistic in terms of scalability or in terms of its completeness cannot be done. So as a TMILL, as an integrated logistic player, we have faced some challenges in terms of inland waterways and coastal shipping. As far as our port and railway operations is concerned, in railways, I have already told what kind of challenges we are facing on part of Indian Railways. But in inland waterways, we have been trying to foray to a significant extent, but we have been facing some kind of challenges in terms of infrastructure, deficiency in the infrastructure. There is a severe lack of good amount of handling facilities. JTs are not there. And then we have, there is a problem in the night navigation, and then cargo handling facility is also not there. So such kind of challenges we have been facing in inland waterways. And the Indian government is going towards taking an approach for the multimodal logistic facility. I think government should also bring its kind attention towards building more infrastructure on inland waterways. The second is we have been facing challenges in terms of coastal movement, because we are into coastal movement also. So the major problem, the major challenge that we have been facing for coastal movement is the availability of the sizable cargo or aggregation of the cargo, because these are not big chunks consignments. So facility of aggregation and getting cargo in order to complete the barge or the mode of transport is little difficult. Then there is a problem in the preferential berthing of the vessels, ship calls. So that is also one of the major problem that we have faced. And because of all these problems, the major problem that is getting converted into is the high turnaround time for coastal movements.
I'm opening the house for the Q&A, and I want to request Mr. Thomas to join us for the open house. Another question I want to ask to Mr. Karthik, how do you envision advanced material handling solution like those from pest mill contributing to improving the efficiency of railway logistics, especially for heavy and bulk goods?
Yeah, so this is, to answer this, it is more or less similar like what I have mentioned before, which is the bulk material or the heavy finished goods, which in terms of steel coils are weighing, 30 tons or 35 tons or 40 tons. carrying capacity. So we have sort of automation systems called YMS, which is the yard management system, through which we do the scheduling or planning of such locations or placements of these coils. And therein, after we have such placements in the respected designated area, we know where that truck or rake has to exactly stop and to place this coil at the right point at the right time, so that the coil can be dispatched at the right deliverable time. So if you do not have such logics or such systems or like automation systems in place, you may encounter several delays where more of communication gaps it may happen if you have more of laborers or manpower deployed. When I talk about automation, I'm not saying that this will 100% eradicate the number of resources, but yes, to some extent we need to follow such disciplines of having such automations to have at least disciplined way of working, so that it will improve overall efficiency of your system.
So Praveenji, what improvements in railway infrastructure are needed to handle the increasing demand for containerized transport of finished goods like TMT bars and steel coils?
So as far as container movement is concerned, I think there are a few scopes in terms of more development towards having more design of customized containers for movement of steel coils, which hitherto is not there. And the second is, I think, proliferation of more container terminals, so that accessibility and the first mile, last mile can be breezed that way. And the third is what I feel that there is also a requirement of enhancement in terms of the port facilities, because ports are also required to ramp up so that they can maximize the throughput of containers. So these are some of the improvement areas or OFIs that are required for having more containerized cargoes moved in terms of steel coils and TMT bars.
Yeah. Opening house for the Q&A. Yeah. Please hand over the mic. Sir, please introduce yourself to the house.
Yeah. Good afternoon. I'm Pankaj Tripathi from SAIL. My question is to Mr. Karthik. Karthik sir,
yes, sir,
the entire discussion of this yard management system and everything seems to be concentrated more on a covered shed and the coils in the covered shed. We have an experience of high TTAT when the material is in the open area, and especially PM plates, the plate mill plates. You have any software where it helps us, because the problem in our TTAT timings in the bigger yards are multi-punch vehicles. When we have to load vehicles with plates from a single lot, where you have to shift 410 plates and then load the 15th plate, then again shift from the next wagon and then load the plates. If a vehicle has more than 6-7 punches, you have any system to help us out? Because most of the discussion seems to be centered around a covered shed and coils. That's not much of a difficulty as far as we are concerned. The difficulty comes in higher TTAT timings for PM plates which are kept in open sheds, open areas, and this constitutes a higher volume. And the second question is about the RFID tags.
Okay.
The RFID tags, are they foolproof? Because we have encountered cases where drivers have exchanged their RFID tags and the entire system has gone for a toss.
Okay, thank you. I suppose these are the two questions from your side, right? So first, to address your question where you say that you have a plate storage at the open area, where you have a stack or bundles of plates kept at the open area, not at the covered shed, right? So yes, of course, we do have such solutions to answer your question. Like we have transportation systems where you can transport such plates or whatever products you kept at the open area, for that plate or material to migrate to a place where we have a designated area for our machine to pick up that plate and to have a storage and deliverable met. So it is a sort of ASRS, like, we pick up the plate from point A, for example, where you kept those plates or plate bundles. Then we move it to point B, which is the storage, which is a vertical storage rack systems, where we keep those plates onto the racks, and as and when the requirement arises, we retrieve those plates from the storage and we deliver it to the end users. I hope I have answered your question. Sorry, yeah.
We'll discuss probably in detail.
Sure, yeah. Okay. And the second one is RFID, which you have stated, and it's, yes, it's like it's I'm not sure how those exchanges happen. Practically, it shouldn't happen, which is what I said before. Like, once we get into such digital transformations or automations, I hope you have gathered my keyword, which is the discipline, which I said, and the process which we need to follow. If we skip this discipline and process, of course, you are not meeting what you are doing or what your objective is. So we have to train people, because implementation of such systems are coming from guys who are having a very good engineering background on how to deploy such practices. But the people who are using like a layman, he may not know what is the importance of this RFID. It's just a sticker or label for it. That we have to inculcate. Yeah.
Yeah, I can add to your first question that our software is fully capable of. Yes, of course we can map those, like if we have mobile AGVs or any cranes, it can be included. Raj, you can, if you had something to add.
It is very customary that there are, especially hot coils, they are stored outside and they bring it inside because they need not. It is very customary that especially in a hot coil storage, they store the coil outside and they bring it inside because they are not able to store all the coils inside. And that time this forklift normally brings it in. So normally there are dedicated forklift 4 or 5 which does the job. So we have done a similar job for another plant where this forklift will have a HMI. The forklift will integrate with the crane. So the moment there is a common skid, so which is common for the forklift as well as for the crane, so they know which coil is coming there. So if that is to be loaded on a truck, so plates, for example, so outside. So it's very common in, especially with regard to hot plates and hot coil to store outside because nobody wants to store it inside sometimes. So that way it is always possible if you could identify with the yard mapping. You could always, the crane person can see in his HMI where it is with the yard map and he could go pick it up. And of course loading on the truck. For example, see the Timken has got almost like 40 acres of land where they got all the tubes, long products, everything. So what they do, they load one load here, maybe round. The other place they load some flat. So now all this whole thing is very difficult to yard map. Okay, that way what they do, as Mr. Karthik was telling, sometimes load wise they keep it together and so that he can load together at that time. So there is some homework done so that the truck need not move to many places. That's, I think, I hope I answered it.
More questions? Yeah, Udit ji ko dijiye.
Karthik sir, this question is specifically for you since you mentioned about digital logistics, right? From gate in to gate out, right? So we at Siemens also have been successfully, implemented such solution for 1 or 2 customers, but we are facing a, very, common problem of vehicle sequencing and scheduling. So we have been, it becomes too complicated even for smaller industries because when there are a lot of vehicles coming in, right? Generally, everyone does it based on FIFO, first in, first out. But then, the complexities of material priority, customer priority, marketing priority, logistic zone priority, right? So all this kicks in, right? And then it becomes too much complicated and generally companies avoid implementing such a solution and keep it semi-automatic. It's not completely automation, right? Yeah. So do you have any such solutions or, frugal solutions which are comparatively lower in cost can be integrated and so that scheduling and sequencing can be achieved?
Yeah, thank you. So to answer this question, when I mentioned ASRS, which is the automated storage and retrieval systems, which we normally use in our industries for such storage and retrieval purposes, we have a dedicated software named WMS, which is the warehouse management system. This software specifically gets order from the SAP or ERP. And this command is being sent from this ERP SAP to WMS, and then from WMS it is given to sort of level 1, 2, 3 automations, and then to the local machineries. The machineries, if I say this is the stacker cranes, if it in case of ASRS system. Now for gate in or gate out, we have a dedicated software called TMS, which is the Transportation Management System, right? So where in this TMS software you have certain scorecards or reports where you can really fill in your key performance indicators, which are the KPIs, what you have to really meet, having giving set some preset values like this is your value and this is your objective. Like when you say, you keep defining some goals or objectives for your vehicles to pass it in a sequence. This sequence is not being followed, or there are some mishaps here and there. So once you ensure this software has been deployed with defining certain parameters, what you want to achieve, the software itself will take its own tasks. And whatever obstacles you face, the software will automatically clarify and correct whatever mistakes which are being happening practically, and that will resolve your purpose.
So I think this is it.
So I think we are done with the session. Now I request Ms. Bachchan to please do the honor and present memento to our speakers of the session. I request Ms. Bachchan to please present the memento to Mr. Karthik, Business Manager, PESMEL India. Mr. Praveen Kumar Mishra, Chief Railway Operations, TMILL. And I think we all can have a group photograph together. Thank you for such an insightful session. So now I think we can move on to the quiz, because it's been a while we didn't ask anything. And there were no hampers which I can see running here or there. So please raise your hand if you are interested to participate in the quiz. Yes, sir, please come over. I've seen you raise your hand. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, please. So we have 3 participants. We need 2 more. 2 more hands I'm looking here. So let's see who's gonna raise his hand. Or we can choose voluntarily. I think I should let Ms. Bachchan to do the honor and choose 2 volunteers for the quiz. We have 3 here. Yes.
So I can choose Mr. Satish and Mr. Ravindra for the quiz. We are having a Diwali quiz going on in between. So please come ahead and
So this time no explanation would be needed, because I am coming up with a very simple question.
yeah, Satish ji and Ravindra ji had just joined.
Okay.
I'll tell you the rules, because now after a week there's a Diwali, the entire whole day we are getting into the quiz and we are giving gift hampers. So now Tanya will be raising a question. If you know the answer, just raise the hand. ऐसे बोलना नहीं है वरना काउंट नहीं होगा. Disqualify हो जाएंगे. Raise the question.
Perfect. So the question is, what is the total length of Western Dedicated Freight Corridor from Dadri to JNPT? What is the total length of Western Dedicated Freight Corridor from Dadri UP to JNPT?
Just raise the hand if you know the question. Okay. We have. Please explain.
What is JNPT? Around 1,361 kilometers.
That is too precise though, but no. Any more guesses?
No, it's less. You can try.
What is the total length of Western Dedicated Freight Corridor from Dadri UP to JNPT?
What?
Jawaharlal Nehru Port.
1,500 kilometers.
Yes.
1,500.
It is 1,100 kilometers. 1,100 kilometers.
1100?
It is around 1250 kilometers.
No. No, no, no. Not closer. Yes, 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 please. Sorry? 1500 किलोमीटर्स. आपने कहाँ से गूगल करा, चैट जीपीटी किया, बताइए थोड़ा सा हमें. That man. 1504 kilometers, yes. Sir, please come here. You told 1200, I believe.
Yes, yes, told me. Yes.
Okay, okay. He said 1500, then he said earlier. Yes, sir, please come.
To be very precise, it is 1504.
1506 kilometers. Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Congratulations. Can we have the hamper, please?
Sir, what is your name? आप इंट्रोड्यूस करिए अपने आप.
Myself Arun Kumar Sharma, retired General Manager Civil from Coal India Limited, residing at Noida.
Congratulations for the gift hamper. Wishing you a happy Diwali. आ जाइए. We will have another quiz. We'll pick 5 more people. Please raise your hand.
Please raise your hand. Okay, sir, please come.
Don't be shy. Come on. You know all the answers. Sorry, sir. Please. Sir, come on. Sir, your name? Center back. And we have?
We have 4 participants now. 3.
We need 2 more. Okay, look at it.
4.
Encyclopedia ko le aaya. We need 1 more person. Who want to participate?
Sir is roaming here. Sir, please come. He's dodging us. Okay, okay, 6 is good. Okay. So let's come to the question. थोड़ा सा इस बार मुश्किल रखते हैं. Which major port in India handles the most diverse cargo? Which major port in India handles the most diverse cargo?
Nova Shiva Port.
No.
Your answer?
Please specify the location as well.
Most diverse port.
Chennai.
Chennai, okay.
Is it?
Sorry?
Haldia? Paradip. In Odisha, Paradip in Odisha होना चाहिए.
Chennai is the correct answer. So, can we have a big round of applause for Suri, sir? Chennai port, situated in Chennai, Tamil Nadu, is known for handling a wide range of cargo, including automobiles, petroleum products, iron, steel, and granite. So, Chennai port is the major port in India, which handles the most diverse. Okay, let's come to one more question. After this, we will be having the next session.
Please raise your hand who has not participated till now.
Yes, yes, sir. Please come.
5 more picks who have not participated in the quiz. Please come. 3 more.
2 more. 2 more picks.
2 more. 2 more. ऐसे नहीं 2 लोग और चाहिए. आप आ जाइए. ऐसे नहीं 2 लोग और चाहिए. आप आ जाइए.
1 more.
1 more.
Last time we had 7 participants in the end.
1 more pick. 1
Okay. So this time we would be coming along with numbers again. After the operationalization of Eastern Freight Corridor, what was the reduction in coal transit time from eastern coal fields to power plants in North India? I am repeating the question. After the operationalization of the Eastern Freight Corridor, what was the reduction in coal transit time from eastern coal fields to power plants in North India? Sorry? In terms of percentage.
23%.
Sorry?
23.
23, no. No.
20%?
No. 30 to 40% is the answer, between 30 to 40%. Although it was an hit and trial, मुझे ऐसे लग रहा है. बहुत अच्छा तुक्का लगाया सर आपने.
What is your name?
Amlan Malik. Liberty Shipping.
Liberty Shipping. Okay.
Happy Diwali.
Thank you. Same to you.
Wishing you a happy Diwali.
Thank you.
No.
वो आपकी बैग में वो आप खाते खाते जा सकते हैं.
Thank you so much.
We'll start the next session.
Don't forget to like, subscribe and share the videos.